Hello, my darlings. I hope you're all well and are having a fabulous day and have had an even better week. In today's video, we are going to be discussing Love is Blind, Meet Me at the Altar, the final episode. Well, before the reunion. So, spoiler alert, this video will contain spoilers. If you haven't already watched Love is Blind, the wedding episode, where have you been? Quick recap, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Jimmy jolted Chelsea before they got to the altar. That's number one. AD and Clay made it to the altar, and at the very last minute, can you guess? Clay said no. And finally, as I predicted, the only couple to make it to the altar and to both say yes was Amy and Johnny. Woo-hoo! So, that was that. In today's conversation, we have the lovely Lady Onyx.
Hi, everybody.
We have the incomparable Dr. Fred.
Hello, everybody.
And we have the fabulous Lady LaPersha.
Hi, all.
We're going to start from the top. We're going to do it like this. The only couple in the series to get married was Amy and Johnny. Now, I really feel like that was like one that was going to be a given, right? Like, literally, it was going to be a given. There's nothing really much to say about them because ultimately, I really do feel like love is blind for them. They've come together. I love the way their families have come together as well. It was actually beautiful to see. It's probably one of the most, wholesome and beautiful moments on the show.
Yeah, I thought it was lovely. No surprises there that there was going to say yes. And you're right, the families coming together was really lovely to see.
I agree. The way their families have come together, it's really nice. In fact, out of all of the seasons of Love is Blind, I don't feel like I've ever seen like two united families as strong as theirs.
I agree with that, but there have been some other nice moments as well.
Oh,
all the genuine couples who've got married, like Tiffany and Brett.
Yeah.
Zach and Bliss, even though Bliss's dad was a monster, he didn't really like the idea of Bliss getting married to Zach, and he didn't think it was genuine at the start. They came together, and he, in the end, paid for their honeymoon, which I think was really nice. And then Lauren and Cameron, which was season 1, their family came together as well, and they're still married, so that was nice.
So I feel like that's a true example of love being blind. Dr. Fred?
Yeah, there was a nice aspect to the couple that got married. As I said, I like to think Amy and Johnny were a nice couple, well matched, but they just never went through no adversity, never went through nothing that I could analyse them on a behavioural aspect. They seemed very genuine with their affections towards each other. They seemed very open towards each other, but you never got to see much of them. Very boring couple, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I just think that's just because there was no drama apart from the whole contraception situation, but that was soon resolved, obviously. But moving on from Amy and Johnny, Mr. and Mrs., let's talk about Jimmy and Chelsea, because I'm not gonna lie, I was so shocked as I sat there and watched that opening scene and then just see him say, I'm sorry, I can't go to the altar. I was literally shocked. Dr. Fred's popping his collar because he predicted that they wasn't going to make it. I was really shocked that they didn't make it to the altar. I really thought that they were going to get there, and I thought that he wasn't going to back out of it. I knew he'd seen the red flags, and I knew that he thought that Chelsea was a lot to handle. But I just thought that he would go through it. I didn't think he would have the balls to break it off before they got to the altar. So my jaw just dropped when I heard him say what he said, after he kind of let her pour out her heart and tell him that she would go to the altar with him, and then he just turned around and said, well, I'm not going to do it. Shocked.
That was a little bit of a power play. That was his vengeance on her, just to make America know that she was willing to go through with it, but he wasn't. He was willing to take the ultimate sacrifice, or she was willing to take the ultimate sacrifice, and he wasn't. So basically, that was just like a power maneuver. It was a bit of a shame as well, because he felt embarrassed. So he thought, I'm going to give her a bit of shame back. A bit of spitefulness.
That was
a
spiteful.
bit of it was a bit of petty AF.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not too sure how the dynamics went. But
Yeah, I feel like he could have broke it off with her, because her thing was like, why did you wait till this moment to break it off with me? Why are we sitting here? We've had such a great day. Why did you wait till now to do this? But that lets me know, I mean, she was going to be upset at whatever point. But I feel like if he had broke it off with her at the altar, I genuinely don't think she would have mentally been able to manage that. I don't think she would have.
Yeah, she wouldn't have. I don't think she would have taken it very well, but I actually wasn't surprised. I did say those two are not going to get married. Both of them have got issues. Both of them have got issues. Chelsea more than Jimmy, and it just wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to happen. Really, that's the right decision for the both of them, rather than cause any more dramatics than what's been caused already.
I agree.
I think that Jimmy is a coward because in the pods he waited up until the last minute to decide whether it was going to be Jessica or Chelsea. We already know that it's definitely going to be Chelsea, because one thing, I didn't think he was ready to be a father figure to Jessica's daughter. So he led her on throughout the journey, only up until the end, whether to say, when she gave him that lovely speech, poured her heart out to him, and then for only him to go and say he loves Chelsea, and then breaks it off. That let me know already he didn't have balls.
Yeah.
Then,
Always a coward.
all throughout this, out through the honeymoon, and then the last big argument that they had, and he was really upset. I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be the end of it, only to drag it out to say, oh, let's work through it. And then on the final day, then to come around and say, I'm not going to the altar. I'm glad that he did, and I'm glad that he took his mental health seriously and his well-being first, but he is a coward.
He's definitely a coward. I knew that last argument was the nail in the coffin. I just knew that her exposing those things about him and his friend, like, I could see that it completely floored him. And I knew that was going to be it. There was no coming back from it, because she went below the belt. And I think the time elapsed from that argument to that date that they had, it was too close, because I think it was probably only like 2 days or something like that. So everything's happening very quickly. And to be fair on him, I do think he's a coward, but to be fair on him, he really had to decide very quickly. I feel like that was below the belt. Am I going to live with that? Even though that's kind of like my absolute limit, or am I just going to call it off? But I'm glad he did call it off when he did and how he did.
yeah, as I said, I got a different perspective on it. I just think he wanted to embarrass her again.
To get her back?
Yeah, otherwise he wouldn't have asked her, would you walk down the altar with him? Because as soon as she said yes, he said, no, I don't want to do it with you.
That's true.
So it was definitely...
That was a bit reckless.
Yeah, it was definitely, like, in my opinion, it was definitely tit for tat. And I believe that he was premeditated.
Oh. Wow. Do you think it was premeditated?
I think from the final argument, yes. He probably just didn't know when to tell her, when was the best time, and he probably just thought, let's not go to the altar and get it out of the way. And like you said, I don't think Chelsea would have handled that well if it was at the altar.
She probably would have got violent. She probably would have got violent.
Yeah. I feel like she's got the tendency to get violent, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because you can see, every time they've had a disagreement, you can see it's almost like a little switch goes off in her, and her face just changes. Like she gets nasty, you know.
Yeah. And those are the issues that she needs to work on for herself before trying to get into a relationship. To be honest, she's not ready for marriage. Not yet.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We then move on to AD and Clay. So, as I said last week, AD's behaviour. So, Clay's. Let's talk about Clay first. Clay's behaviour throughout this whole season has been very consistent. In every episode, all he's been doing is basically flip-flopping, debating with himself about whether or not he can make it to the altar and whether or not he can get married, right? And for some reason, we've seen a bit of an arc, a bit of a development with AD. She looked like she was very much in love with this guy and everything was rosy. And as I said last week, I couldn't work out why, because I couldn't see no evidence to suggest that she should be in La La Land, because to me, you're with somebody who's not even sure about you and not sure that he wants to get married to you. So once more, I will say, I feel like we may have missed out quite a big chunk of their development, and that does have something to do with the fact that they could only shoot limited scenes because of Clay's work schedule. Now, that again, the fact that you have committed to this show and then now we're at the final elements of it where you're supposed to be showing your day-to-day and you can't commit to that for the show, I feel like that says quite a lot about him as a person in a way, because everybody else committed and he didn't. So actually, they didn't even have 100% the same experiment as everybody else, because when it come onto it, in their everyday living, he couldn't commit to filming. So he didn't have that same pressure as everybody else.
But was he really working though?
We have
to ask that question. God. I mean, when they had the meet and greet, meeting the other cast members, AD said, "Oh, he's at work," and then he came later on. And then, okay, that was nice. They had the jet skis. Who knows whether if it was his jet skis.
He probably provided the jet skis.
Maybe, but I have suspicion that he was doing other things whilst he wasn't coming home. And I will say for AD, she's got such a genuine heart where she sees the good in people. Even though they're showing her the bad, she can see the positiveness from them. And I think that was dangerous, because she was just like so in love with him and so wanted the best outcome for him. Sadly, it didn't end well for her, and I hope that she knows her self-worth and develops, her love for herself. I really do hope that she continues on with therapy, and Clay as well. I really do hope that he seeks help, counselling with his parents and individual counselling as well.
So he definitely needs counselling. No, he needs therapy, actually. He needs to have therapy. I feel like meeting his dad. So I expected to see his dad on the show earlier. That's number one. I really did. For some reason, I just don't know why, but I felt like we would have seen his dad earlier. I thought he would have introduced his dad to AD for the wedding. Just because of how much he spoke about his dad whilst they was on holiday and stuff. When we saw his dad is like a smooth criminal. You could see, oh my goodness, what a slippery character, guys. So number one, Clay said that he's a mommy's boy. I definitely think he's a daddy's boy, because as soon as the dad walked in, Clay's whole energy just literally shifted, right? And it seems like his dad kind of gave him a bit of a silent boost, right?
I think with the dad and his mom, you can see on why Clay is the way that he is.
I like to think with Clay and the dad, it was a very emotional scene. I think that sometimes he loves his dad so much, and you can tell he admires his dad as well. He's learned lots of his great principles from his father.
Yeah.
A lot of the
good positive principles.
Yeah, a lot of positive principles and morals have come from that man.
Yeah.
So in that respect, but a lot of unaccountability has come from that man.
Yeah.
And
The good and the bad.
He hasn't gave Clay the initiative to own up to your responsibility and be accountable for your own actions.
Yeah.
So if the dad could give him some of them lessons, that would be nice. Because it's all good giving him lessons to be successful.
Yeah.
But we need some accountability lessons.
Yeah. It's the emotional side of things that the dad hasn't taught him, but I feel like the dad doesn't have the emotional understanding himself because he obviously spoke about how his upbringing was and the fact that he didn't have that connection with his dad, etc.
Correct.
But again, like Dr. Fred said, it's just excuses. He never took accountability for what he did to Clay's mom.
Yes.
So then how can we expect Clay to take accountability when all he saw as his positive role model is his dad not taking accountability? Even the mom said it. You need to speak to your son. This is why he's the way that he is. And I'm glad she said that.
Yeah.
You know, because he really needed to know how damaged his son is and how he looks up to you. But he's so scared of commitment and being married because he doesn't want to cheat. But that's all he knows, because he said it in the previous episodes. All black people that he knows of that are couples always cheat, which, however, is not always the truth. And it's sad to hear him say that. But look at the role models of his parents.
So why did he go on the programme? Why did he go on the programme? All of this knowledge was there prior to going on the programme. He doesn't just stumble upon his parents' past. He lived it with them. So why did you go on the programme looking for love if you're not ready for love and you're not ready to commit because you're not sure if you can remain with one woman without cheating like your father did? You needed to have got therapy first. So there's quite a few people that are coming onto these programs. They're coming onto these programs looking for relationships, but the relationship with themselves needs to be questioned. Some of them have got issues going on that need to be dealt with before bringing that into a relationship. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, that was one of my main analysis, Lady the Persia. From the beginning, it was I was studying a lot of broken people, and broken people are trying to get broken people to get a healed couple. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is so very true. That is so very true, and I'll also go as far as to question. I can see why a lot of them haven't got good relationships, and it is because of themselves individually. Don't get me wrong, they're lovely people. Individually they are, but they've got issues within themselves that need to be resolved.
Yeah.
I agree with both of them, Dr. Fred and Lady LaPersha, because I've said from the beginning that all of them need therapy. Every single one of them need therapy. And yes, Clay should never have came on this show. I think he came on there for fame and money. Yeah. I don't think he had genuine intentions of ever marrying anybody. 100%. He got the best out of this experiment because all he's been saying in every episode is that AD has helped me. Yeah. AD has helped me. But he's never once said why he actually loves her.
He's never once said about what he's done for her. And she's never once said about what he's done for her. And hence why I keep saying we're seeing AD walking around in La La Land. But we haven't seen her receive anything.
But, but remember what I previously said, ladies. I've previously stated that this was a marriage or a relationship of convenience, and they both knew the role. That strap line, or the line that he kept using of you making me a better person, was winning. So he didn't have to change it. He was too busy to think of anything else.
If it was I don't agree with you, because it's not a contract, because she didn't stand to gain anything from it. She doesn't stand to gain
a holiday, notoriety.
No.
Yes. She went further in the show.
No.
She gained the proposal.
Yeah,
I would have thought.
Remember, it's got less experimental and more fame and fame hungry driven. You must admit this, ladies.
No, I admit it for Clay.
Contaminated the whole process.
I admit it for Clay, but I don't admit it for AD. I think AD came in there with
love.
true intentions of marrying someone
Yeah.
and was committed to that. Clay had his own agenda, so I don't agree with that. They didn't have a contract because think about it like this. If his intentions were to never get married, then why did they put him on the show? Because ultimately they want couples to get married at the end. We've already had a season 5 where we had one couple get married. They don't want that. They want at least 3 or more couples getting married. So I think Clay had his own agenda. AD wasn't a part of that because she hasn't gained anything from it. She's now left heartbroken and he has gained more. So there was never an agreement, because why would she be agreeing knowing that this man doesn't like you, doesn't love you? I know for a fact he wasn't really attracted to her. He's just attracted to her body, but not her face. And that was clearly shown.
Lady Onyx, least we forget the biggest line in their conversation. She said, I felt like I was the sacrifice. Lest we forget, like, that was one of the most devastating lines of that episode. She said to him, I feel like I was the sacrifice because you've advanced yourself, you become emotionally maturer throughout this process. You have gotten something from being on this show, and I'm left heartbroken and with nothing.
No, but you know what, ladies? Come on, man. This is 2024. As Lady Onyx said, I believe the girl is strong enough to know that self-worth and self-love is the best way forward. I'm not saying she never went through a hurtful process, but this is the process she signed up for. She could have been hurt. It's a reality.
Yeah,
she even acknowledged the reality. So let's not play like she's Goldilocks and the brother is one of the 3 bears and he's after her. Let's not pretend that she's the most innocentest thing out here. She knows what's happening. She signed up for this.
So what you're saying is that she should take accountability for...
Take accountability.
I agree with... Obviously she should take accountability, but she signed up to be...
I think that's a bit harsh.
So do I, because I
think that's a bit harsh, because I think AD came onto the program looking for love. That was apparent. She went on to follow the rules of the program to find out, is love truly blind? Because that is the name of the program, and people seem to be slipping in all different directions and not keeping on the focus of the title.
Yeah.
Is love really blind? Because even when he asked her, what does she look like? He said, I needed to, because physical attraction is very important to him. If physical attraction is very important to him, you came onto the wrong program.
Yeah.
He definitely did, because he doesn't even have emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
But you come in on a show to develop emotional connection. Make that make sense. I just don't understand why in 2024 we don't understand the premise of this show, and then says, oh, I've never watched this show before. And then halfway through on, I think it was the last episode, and they're doing the marriage certificate. And he says, oh, I've watched the show. And then he felt embarrassed and he felt like he was stupid because he realised, comparing, and I bet he saw Brett and Tiffany, Zach and Bliss, even though it was rocky and they overcame that. He saw that and he thought, I'm nowhere near as ready as they are. This is not the show for me. But he didn't know what to do and how to manage it. So he just carried on with the same spiel. Oh, she really helps me. She loves me. She's my best friend. The sexual chemistry is there.
Because he really... The way he overemphasized that mantra about he really loves her and she's made him a better person and she's made him a better brother and a better human and a better person in society, it was a mechanism of him convincing himself of all these things. The way he actually kept going on and on and on and on about it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And if he'd made her a better person, the least he could do, because of what she's done for him, is show her with a little bit of respect. Why take her all the way to the altar? She said, I do. She stood there and said, and he knew.
She was gonna.
And he knew he wasn't going to. But you knew that before you put on the suit on that day to walk down. I should have gave her that level of respect and say, no, prior to the wedding day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this one was scripted though, because we didn't get a lot of couples. This one was scripted. It had to be a plot, because the way they're leading up to their marriage, AD and Clay, they poured the love on. It was very, very thick. I mean, we knew the plot twist was coming. Cause
I don't think there was a plot twist. I think most people knew that Clay was going to say no. I just think AD was optimistic about it. And that's one of the qualities about her. She really sees the good in people. And I think she genuinely had the hope
she was
that...
too optimistic. Sis.
Yeah, she was optimistic.
And
but
I'm saying that's her fault.
yes, it is, because that's her... But that's her character though, isn't it? She sees the good in people, and now maybe...
Even without any evidence.
Yeah, but she might self-reflect, but that's the thing though, isn't it? What he's showing her, she's probably thinking, okay, he's developing, he's showing me more. Remember, we don't know what's being done off camera.
Yeah, it's true.
Because, so I just feel like now...
But I believe the young man's explanation was so strong and concrete of him making her a better person. He actually believed the lie and made her believe it. So that could be a possibility. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that every 10 seconds he would use that, you've made me a better person, and she might have actually believed that.
Remember, what did she say in the first episode? She's a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
She paints her nails red when she sees red flags. So this is nothing new to her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sadly, it hasn't worked well for her.
She needs to stop looking them kind of people, because they don't mean her no good, to be honest.
Well, exactly. But I feel like that's why we can also kind of blame AD for putting herself in this position and taking it this far, because deep down, and that's why Dr. Fred, I do kind of agree with you when you say about her taking some accountability, because you've been with guys who are fixer-uppers. You've come on this show because you said you're trying to get away from that kind of guy, right? So somebody like... Exactly. So somebody, when she first when she was talking to Matthew, who would have also been a fixer-upper, because he had some very apparent issues, I do think he would have been a fixer-upper. The reason why is because he might have had, again, on paper... When we talk about credentials with these people, they're successful people in their careers, but emotionally they are unavailable, right? Which makes them bad candidates for forming a relationship at this time, especially one that would lead to marriage within 28 days, right? So back to AD and Clay, you knew from the beginning, I've never seen a woman have to reassure a man so much. As much as she enjoys our renovation project, are you going to be happy being the man in the relationship? Realistically, you're not. It showed at the end she wouldn't have been happy in that situation, because ultimately she wants somebody to love her, and he wasn't giving her any love. He wasn't. She had to reassure him and bolster him up every single day. There wasn't a scene that went by with the two of them where she wasn't having to affirm him in some way. And that's not how a relationship goes. Her cup was completely empty, whereas his cup was overflowing with you know, compliments and affirmation from her to him. Nothing to her.
And that's why it wasn't fair, and why they allowed him on the show.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't ready for this. He wasn't ready to be married and to be in a committed relationship.
Apparently, Lady Onyx has got some tea on the young man.
Allegedly, he was in a relationship for 3 years, and a woman online on Instagram exposed Clay, and she was just saying that he's a nasty piece of work and he doesn't treat women good. He's got a bitterness towards women. Really? And she's glad that she's moved on. She's glad that she's got out of that relationship. I'm not sure if she was in a relationship whilst they were filming.
What?
So I think you can all do your own research, look on Reddit and look on Instagram.
Wait, sorry, say that again. He was in a relationship with somebody whilst they were filming?
Allegedly. This is
Are
what
you joking?
This is what this woman has come out and said. She's only broken up with him a few months ago.
She didn't tell me this.
If she's only broken up with him a few months ago, remember this was filmed last year. So a few months ago, as in this few months ago.
So that means then, okay, so timeline wise then, because their situation is over a year out.
Yes.
So that means then after his relationship with AD, he got into another relationship.
No, so before going to the show, he was in a relationship. Now, this woman has just come online and said that she only broke up with Clay a few months ago. So that means maybe she broke up with him in December or January. But she might not have known that he was going on the show. But in the texts that she was sending, when she was asking him where he is, he kept telling her lies. Maybe he was filming with AD and she didn't know of it. This is allegedly, so please do your own research.
Oh
yes.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay, man. It wouldn't surprise me, as I said, because we've had a lot of tea about the contestants this year and the antics they've been getting on with. You know? So it's been very messy.
It has been messy. And I just think with all of these scandals that's coming out, so we've had the scandal about, well, it wasn't so much of a scandal, but we had the whole Jeremy situation, we had the whole situation with Trevor, and now we've got things coming out about Clay. The experiment isn't what it was, because people are coming on to the show for ulterior motive. They're not coming on for love.
And that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying previously.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying any one of you sisters, I wasn't saying any one of the lovely ladies was wrong at all. I was just saying that the actual parameters of the experiment have been contaminated somewhat.
Yeah.
So you're not getting a true outcome, or you're not getting outcomes like previous.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 people going to the altar, 4 people.
Yeah.
etc.
Because to have for this whole season, to have only 2 people make it to the altar, and out of the 2 that did make it to the altar, only 1 couple was strong. Something is wrong.
Yeah,
something
wrong.
isn't right.
Definitely, but that happened last year as well with season 5. We only had 2 people go to the altar.
But
Stacey and Izzy and Milton and
Lydia.
And it was a shame to see only 1 couple get married. I will say,
but at least with Stacey
Izzy.
and Izzy, I'm sorry, but they were somewhat stronger than bloody AD and Clay. It could have went either way with them, but they were stronger than AD and Clay. I'm so sorry. They had a bit more ground than these 2.
Yeah, because you saw Izzy more, and you got to identify Izzy's character more. As I said, it seems like to me, Clay was married to the work, and work was blind.
100%. That's why he shouldn't have came on the show. He wasn't committed to the show. He wasn't ready for the show. A lot of them weren't ready for the show if you really think about it. Chelsea, she was definitely not ready to be married or into being in a relationship. She needed to work on herself, the same as Clay. Jimmy, in the middle. I think he could have got married to the right person. Jessica was his person. However, Jessica had a child. If Jessica didn't have a child, I guarantee you he would have went with Jessica, and maybe they would have got to the altar. I don't know what his decision would have been, but they would have got to the altar.
She was too much of a real woman for him.
He's not for her.
Yeah.
Even though Jimmy would have been for her, she wouldn't have liked him.
Jimmy is not the right man for her.
Yes.
She's the right woman for him because she would fix his business. But he isn't the right man for her because he's not man enough for her. Just like Jeremy wasn't man enough for Laura. Like that wasn't a match. You know? Somebody as, I don't want to say, to me I felt like, what's her name?
Sarah Ann
had an ulterior motive by being on the show. Because I felt like she just wanted to further her social media career. But her and Jeremy, same immature levels, they would have been a good match for each other, I think. They were a decent match. Him and Laura, no. After finding out about Trevor's antics, would he have been the right one for Chelsea? Personality-wise, yes. But actually, in reality, because of the fact that he is a love rat, and also as well, he threatened somebody with revenge porn. Like, that's disgusting. Like, he obviously... Allegedly.
That's what the ex is saying. He is a love rat because he was in a relationship with this woman all throughout the time. Mel, allegedly, she posted tweets, receipts of what he said.
So
But the reunion will answer that question, because one of the questions in the reunion is you was in a relationship throughout filming. So hopefully we might get some tea at the reunion.
Okay. Disappointing in this season. Very, very disappointing in this season. We need some sort of liveliness at the reunion, otherwise I might give up on Love is Blind.
I just want to say that I think they definitely need to have some therapists on the show.
yeah.
And they need some aftercare with their mental health and well-being. I think going into the new seasons, they need to change how the show works. They all need some care after the show and during the show.
Yeah. Hopefully the next Love is Blind installment is Love is Blind UK. Let's bring it home. And that will be the first one in the UK as well. So, speaking of reunion, we've got the reunion to look forward to. I'm expecting that to be spicy. However, I say however. The only reason I say however is because we know that the reunion has already been filmed. Quite a few things have come out publicly about the likes of Jeremy, the likes of Trevor, obviously all of this tea that's coming out now about Clay. I just hope that the extra tea that we know is going to get addressed in the reunion. I hope that's not cut out of it, you know? And I also don't like the fact they filmed the reunion before all of the episodes were aired. So I hope that the cast themselves have had a chance to see all of the episodes. So we're getting true reactions over everything. But I am expecting to see some explosions. And I feel like the explosions are definitely going to come from Chelsea and Jimmy. I feel like she's going to go off. I really do feel like she's going to go off. The trailer that I did see, Laura was coming with a bit of spice, which is to be expected. I'm looking forward to the reunion.
Same, I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah, the reunion better be 4 hours long, because otherwise it's just a disappointment.
Oh,
If there's not a lot of things going on in the reunion, I think I'm going to give Love is Blind the rest. But God bless everybody on there, really.
I'm also looking forward to the reunion. I think it's going to be very spicy.
Yeah. Okay, my darlings. So that is it for today's chat. I'm going to see you next week with our final conclusion after watching the reunion on Love is Blind season 6. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to say?
No, we'd just like to say like, share, comment and subscribe.
Oh yeah!
Yes, please. Like, share and subscribe.
Thank you guys.
Like, share, subscribe.
You heard that. So like, comment, share, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next week for our final conversation on Love is Blind. Mwah.